Hello everyone and welcome back to day 14 of my 30 days of JavaScript LeetCode challenge. Today's problem is about scheduling a delayed execution and giving the caller a way to cancel it. A very practical pattern when working with timers and UI events. Let's see the question explanation. The problem gives you a function, an array of arguments to call with and a delay t in milliseconds. You must write a function cancelable which takes parameters as fn, args, t that one schedules function to run after milliseconds, 2 returns a cancel function cancelFn, 3 if cancelFn is invoked before milliseconds elapse, the scheduled execution should be cancelled. Fn must not run. And number 4, if cancel function is invoked after Fn has already executed, it has no effect. And it is important to know that the environment will also call setTimeout to test whether the cancellation happens before or after t. Okay, now let's walk through the examples. Now let's understand example 1 in a simple real-time manner. We are given a function that multiplies a number by 5 and we schedule it to run after 20 milliseconds. The cancellation, however, is scheduled at 50 milliseconds. So think of the timeline like this. At 0 millisecond, we schedule fn of 2 to run after 20 milliseconds. At 20 milliseconds, the function actually runs. It calculates 2 into 5, which gives us 10. And the execution is finished. Now, at 50 milliseconds, the cancellation function is called, but this is already after the function has run. So, there is nothing left to cancel. That's why the output shows the function executed at around 20 milliseconds and returned 10. And now let's see the example number 2. And this one is the opposite of example number 1. Here is the function. Here the function is scheduled to run after 100 milliseconds, but the cancellation will happen at 50 milliseconds. So what happens? At 0 milliseconds, we schedule fn of 2 to run after 100 milliseconds. At 50 milliseconds, the cancellation function fires. This is before the scheduled execution time. So the scheduled timeout gets cleared and the original function never runs. Since the function never executed, we don't give any output. That's why the result is an empty array. Finally, example 3 is similar to example 1. Here, the function is scheduled to run after 30 milliseconds and the cancellation is scheduled at 100 milliseconds. So, step by step, at 0 milliseconds, we scheduled the function of 2, 4 to run at the 30 milliseconds mark. At 30 milliseconds, the function runs successfully and returns 2 into 4 equals to 8. At the 100 milliseconds, the cancellation function gets called, but by this time, the work is already done. Cancellation does nothing. So this example returns one entry showing that the function ran at around 30 milliseconds and returned 8. Let's see the full solution. Here is a full solution. Okay, in line number 1, we define cancelable as a function that takes the original function fn, the array args, and the delay t. Using where keeps it consistent with the LeetCode function style, but const will also work. In line number 2, const timerId equals to setTimeout. Here, setTimeout schedules the arrow function to run after t milliseconds. The arrow function calls fn ... args. This spreads the args array, so fn receives them as separate parameter. setTimeout returns a timer identifier we store it in timerId. Storing timerId is essential so we can later cancel this specific scheduled task. In line number 3, we return a function named cancelFn. When cancelFn is called, it invokes clearTimeout, which cancels the scheduled callback if it has not yet run. If the timeout already fires, clearTimeout does nothing. This perfectly matches the problem requirement. So, because timerId lives in the outer function, the return cancelFn closes over it. That's a closure. So, cancelFn can access timerId later even after cancelable has returned. So let's test the code and now submit the code. Every test case is passed. So that's it. That's day 14 complete. Today we learned how to schedule a delayed action and cancel it when needed using setTimeout and clearTimeout. If this helped, like, comment and subscribe, and I will see you in next video of day 15. Thank you everyone.